This is a Power 98.7 podcast. Now we're talking. Subscribe to Power 98.7 podcasts in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. There's more on power987.co.za.
On the line, we've got author of To My Rapists, Thank You Palesa Brown. Now, this is a story of pain and also of triumph over it. It details the experiences of Palesa Brown, who at a young age was exposed to the realities of failed relationships and or marriage between her parents. She joins us on the line to talk to us about why she chose to write a book about what happened to her. Palesa, good morning and welcome to Power Up.
Good morning, Kwena.
How are you this
morning?
You?
I'm very much awake.
Well, I hope you are, because it would be weird talking to somebody who's half asleep. But thank you for waking up to talk to us. Appreciate your time. I mean, you know, Palesa, just the title of your book, Nje, just has pain in it. And tell me, before we really go into the story itself, and why you went ahead and wrote this. I mean, the title itself, why did you go with that title, which is, To My Rapists, Thank You?
The title goes, To My Rapists, I Thank You.
I Thank You, yes.
Yes. So, the reason why I went with the title is that I have so much to be grateful for. The title doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily just based on my rape ordeal. I feel that life itself has raped me. And because of my experiences and what I've been through, I am able to stand here boldly and say thank you for all the life lessons. I am stronger than the pain that I endured yesterday. And hence the thank you.
You've gone and had, I mean, just by what you've written in the book, you've experienced quite a lot of trauma physically and otherwise. What led you to say, I want to share this story? I want to put this in a book. What was it that eventually led you to that point? Because, you know, there's different ways of dealing with pain. Others, we close it in, we swallow it, and we move on with life. Others, we talk about it and seek help. And I think in your case, you felt that maybe you should share the story with the world.
Well, my story begins with my mom's journey and my mom's story, which was also a very painful one. And unfortunately, the pain was then transferred to me. And I, as a child, did not understand up until I was a certain age. And with my trauma and my journey and my life experiences, I also needed, I've got two beautiful children, and I needed them to understand what mommy has been through. You know, at times kids don't understand as to why we get divorced. And also with, I think, the pressures of society being labeled like she gets married, she gets divorced, she gets married, she gets divorced. So people don't understand. We don't just get married to get divorced. There's no one that just plans, today I'm going to get married, but then tomorrow, no, I don't want to be married anymore. There are certain things that happen in marriages, some that you say, okay, maybe you try and overcome, and then others you just can't. And in my instance, I suffered domestic violence in my divorce, which led me to be divorced, actually. So people didn't understand as to why she got married very young, and then...
How young were you, Palesa?
I was 20 when I got married. The reason why I married young as well, I was diagnosed with cancer at a tender age of 16. I had urinary cancer. So, and at the time, I think because of, the morals and principles that were instilled, my biggest fear was not being able to have children. Coming from a family-orientated background, and here I am. I'm told that I've got cancer, and chances of me having children are very slim. So I then ended up marrying my best friend. Because you know when you have that friend, you always pull onto child.
Somebody who always offers that shoulder to lean on, who's always there for you.
Yeah, so he was actually a brother and a friend, and then everything was fine before in our friendship, but then in the marriage it went all sour. So I had to get married, and then from there we started the journey of bearing kids. And unfortunately, it did not end the way I thought it would have. So I got married in 1999, and then I was then divorced 2002, just after my daughter was born. Then I divorced. So, that's where it is. And so I said, let me rather pour all my scars into a book. Given what is currently happening, as I was also growing up, we can't shy away from the fact that domestic violence has always been in our midst. It's just that people are not vocal enough about it. I think we were condemned by our parents back then, this begezela. It has killed so many women because, you cannot, you are supposed to be vocal about certain things. And I said, it ends here. I've got a daughter. I will never tell my daughter to begezela because I know what I've been through. So I don't wish this upon myself. I don't wish it upon my daughter or any other women or men out there. It's not just about women, by the way. So I never wished that upon anyone. I said, let me rather I'm going to literally strip myself naked to the world because I know that society judges a lot. And after my rape ordeal, there were talks like, I was gang raped by 7 men, assisted by 2 women. And there were talks like, what was she wearing? No, maybe, she wanted it. And no one ever wants rape. No one can ever say, I want to be raped and left alone by 7 men. So people didn't understand. This was my pain. And I needed to make the world understand. I needed to make the world to stop judging. She was raped because maybe not there is Kutswani. And in my instance, I was wearing a trouser, I was wearing a jacket, boots, and a polo neck. So it is actually not even about what you were wearing.
That's never the case, honestly. And I always say that if that is the case, how do you explain people that rape children? Because
exactly.
That's one of the lamest excuse, honestly.
Exactly.
When it comes to the issue of that. But Palesa, I admire your strength, and because it feels like already from being a teenager, life was just throwing these bad things your way. You talk about having cancer, diagnosed with cancer at the age of 16. You marry young, you get divorced. You are in a relationship that has abuse and all those things. Where did you draw your strength? And I get that you say that you eventually said that you don't want your children to grow up the same way, and that's where you. But where do you draw the strength that really makes you this powerful that you can openly talk about this in the way that you're doing right now?
I think, not even I think, I know that we all have a purpose in life. And I believe that through my pain and my purpose, God has always been there. He's the center of things. And I don't know, I actually, when I talk about God, I normally say I don't want to offend people that don't believe in God. But I do believe, Hore, I would not have been where I am today had it not been Him. He has been there through my pain. And I put you to it, and I will carry you through it. And, certain experiences, they make us, Mudimu says, you will be a testimony. You will then come back and be that beacon of hope to the hopeless. you will come back and show them, you know what, I am the great I am through you. So the strength I draw from God.
Tell me then just about the support that you received or did not receive, when things were literally falling apart, the untimely death of a fiancé, cancer, an abusive marriage, I mean, even far where you had a stroke. And I'm just saying that, the more I read into your story, the more I realize that,
let's quickly talk about the stroke ordeal,
yes.
Right? I had a stroke. This is where I've got a hashtag that goes being a sister's keeper. Got a sister. She's not biologically my sister, but she's my sister because, you know what, God chose her for me. When I suffered a stroke, my mom was working and she was also working in Rustenburg. And my mom had to actually go back to work. And there was actually no one to take care of me. And she literally gave up her job, gave up her life so that she can look after me. So for someone to do that, that's a selfless act. Someone that is not even biologically related to you. I always say, I'm forever indicted to her, but then, you can't forever be. But then for me, for her, the love that she has for me, Junior Hlongwane, it's absolutely amazing. The support structure from her has been absolutely amazing. Through it all, she's always been there, apart from my family, but she's always been the sister that has kept me. And it is very rare, especially amongst women, we suffer from that syndrome, you know what, I will never fix another lady's crown. We are so jealous of each other. But then she chose to be my keeper. Until today, it's been 30 wonderful years of friendship, 30 wonderful years of sisterhood. And yes, I lost my fiancé. I got engaged. This was before I even got married to my kid's father. I got engaged and we were supposed to get married. And a week before our wedding, he was hijacked and killed on the spot. That was like a low blow for me. Through that, my family was very, very supportive. They've been there for me through the whole ordeal. And my mom, I can't even thank her enough. And it is actually sad as I'm talking to you now, my mom is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I was saying, she's been there. She's been my pillar of strength. And what better way for me to actually give back to her is to take care of this old woman because she's been there for me through it all. So all that I am today, I want to actually make her proud. Hence, I have dedicated my book. When I started jotting it, I said, yes, I do have a story, but my story begins with my mom's story.
How important then is the issue, as you say, of just support, and especially, Palesa, when you talk about the issue of rape, and we live in a country where people like me, being men, that is, are rapists. We are rapists. We kill our partners. The issues of gender-based violence in South Africa are horrible. And I mean, it's well documented. How then, in terms of just the support, beyond the people close to you, and especially when you talk about being raped by 7 people, for instance, seven men in that case, do you find that eventually, as a victim, in brackets, that you got the support from society, just from generally people around you, or is it that question, as you've mentioned again, Palesa, that it's always the question, no yakai, no appearing, and stuff like that?
Well, I think it's a two-way stream, right? You will find those that say, no yakai, what were you wearing? But then when they actually sit down, when the other half actually sit down and they realize the trauma that you have endured and the pain, the support was absolutely amazing. It's just, however, sad that I derive from a community, a small community in Britz. The support, I always say, Hore, it takes a village to raise a child. But then, in my instance, my village has never been there. I would get support from outsiders, apart from my family, though. But my community, nope, unfortunately not. Outsiders, it has been amazing. The social media platform, the love, I always say, you will get the love from people that you have never even met in your life. And this is what I have been getting. The support has been absolutely amazing. People just wishing to meet, people just wanting to know how I've overcome. And there's no recipe to it, actually. I think it's with time. Time heals, right? And I can say to you, Hore, this is how I overcame my trauma. It might not work for you. So I feel, Hore, each of us have our own way of dealing with things. So just because Palesa had this technique in dealing with things might not actually work for the next person. But then time heals.
At the end of the day, Palesa, as we wind down the conversation, what message are you sending with this book? Is it just simply letting it all out, telling your story?
It's about telling the story, yes. But then I think what the message that I'm actually sending out, I've got a company that is called Own Your Scars, where I literally had to own all my scars, right? For me to then stand there and say to people, guys, you know what? Owning your scars is the best thing that you can ever do for yourself, and learning to forgive beyond measure. Because I believe forgiveness plays a very, very important role in our lives. We cannot move forward if we are still carrying bondage. We can't move forward. So when I literally jotted down my pain, my life's journey, it was that thing I am trying to say to the next person. Yes, we've been through A, B, C, D. Yes, we are yet given an opportunity to jot it down or even speak about it. Isn't that amazing? Yes, someone out there could have been through the same things that I've been through, but then they're not coping. Let me rather be a beacon of hope and say, it is okay. We own up to our scars, but they do not define who we are as people. I am here today to tell you that regardless of what you've been through, there is hope. Look at me. Find comfort in my story. Find comfort in my journey and say, you know what, one day, it might not be today, but maybe a few years from now, I'll also be able to stand up like Palesa. Palesa will multiply like Winnie Madikizela has multiplied, and say, we own our scars. So it is just basically to be that beacon of hope to the hopeless. That's basically the reason why I said, let me rather jot this down, and also jot it down for my daughter, my nieces, my cousins, and to tell them, you know what, you are not defined by your circumstances, nor are you defined by what you've been through.
Just finally then, before we talk about where people can find the book, Palesa, where would you say your life is right now, if you could place it, after all that you've endured, physically, emotionally, and otherwise? Where are you?
I'm at peace.
That's beautiful. I love that.
There is nothing greater than peace. I'm at peace. There is so much light. There's so much light, and with peace comes light. And there's nothing that I would ever wish upon anyone else out there. It's just for them to have peace.
Where do we find the book, Palesa?
They can go directly on our website. It's called www.palesabrown.co.za. So then they can follow the steps there, because there's I think they will see a picture of my book, and then there it will then say order, place your order, and then I think the computer will then take them through the process.
Okay.
Or they can even, or I can also share my contact details, which are for the book only. right? People tend to just send you messages or calls.
Yeah. No, absolutely. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. Are you also on the social media spaces?
Yes, I'm on the social media spaces. They can find me at Palesa Brown.
Okay, at Palesa Brown, and yeah.
And then on Twitter, I'm Palesa Scars. On Instagram,
Palesa Scars, you said.
Palesa Scars. And
Okay.
on Instagram, I'm Phenomenal Flower.
Okay. All right. And just quickly, you did say that for those who want to order the book itself, you said where? What's the website again?
www.palesabrown.co.za.
Palesa, thank you very much for coming through this morning. Thank you for your strength and for just sharing the positivity with us. LC on Twitter also saying that I'm sending trillions of hugs to Palesa. She's strength and power personified. She's my hero. She's an overcomer and a conqueror. Power to her. So absolutely, Palesa, thank you very much once again for coming through and talking to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Do follow her on social media spaces if you want to find more about the book itself.
You've been listening to a Power 98.7 podcast. For more podcasts, visit power987.co.za or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.